there. Welcome to the AI Chicks, where we're providing you cool conversations about AI for all, with each episode covering a different topic on how AI is impacting your and our daily lives. I'm your host, Aisha Corpus Wynn, always coming in hot with that fun, unique perspective on tech. And of course, I got my partner in crime here.
Hi, guys. I'm Lana Howard. I'm bringing the curls, the charisma, and that entrepreneurial energy.
And so today we are getting into misconceptions with AI. All right.
There is a lot.
This is a hot topic, okay, y'all? And we have an epic, amazing, and hot, might I say, guest to get into this with. We have Miss T. Renee Smith.
Welcome, T. Renee, to the AI Chicks. We're so excited to chat with you.
Thank you. I'm excited, y'all. This is going to be juicy. It's going to be hot. AI hotness today.
She really feels like one of the AI Chicks.
Yeah, no, she's an OG AI chick, actually. You know what? On that note, T. Renee, why don't you tell our listeners more about you and your background? Oh, and your amazing book.
Okay, so that's such a loaded question. So first of all, guys, my new book is She Leads with AI. So it really comes from a woman's perspective of how to use AI, and it gets rid of all those myths about AI being too techie. So my background is an entrepreneur, been an entrepreneur for over 30 years. And let me just tell you, wife, mom, daughter, all of the good stuff, a woman burning the superwoman cape and having both success and some self-care. How about that?
Well, we would love for you to also say a little bit more about, because you've been in the IT space, in the human resource space, all of that. Get a little bit more into that, because I really want them to understand how well-rounded you are as we get into busting these myths.
So my background really has been in information technology, but really in business consulting and helping small businesses and corporations grow their small businesses. So looking at the systems that are required to scale, but also the mindset and the strategy to take you from 0 figures to 6 figures to 7 figures, all the way up to 9 figures.
Yes,
so my background is marketing strategy. Yes. And so one of the biggest things is that, and it's going to be so key when we talk about AI today, is I focus on the CEO mindset, because a lot of people, they may have strategy or they may be implementing, but they don't have the right mindset. So I really focus on the CEO mindset, whether it's in IT, marketing, or sales.
Love it. Love it. But I really wanted just to have people have a better understanding of what inspired you to write She Leads with AI, and why did you focus specifically on high achieving women for that?
And so what's funny is a lot of people think that because I am so focused on business, that my inspiration was AI. And they also think because that it is for women, that it's all about women. But two things. Number one, AI was really inspired by 2 men. And then the other one is my personal life actually inspired AI. So my husband, he's in IT, and he kept saying, T. Renee, you really need to learn AI. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I got on it, dabbled a little bit. I was like, this does not sound like me. These are not my answers, and so I put it away. And I was sitting in an IEP meeting with my son's school, and they were telling me all the things that they were recommending for him. And I knew it wasn't in his best interest. And so I said, let me go home to AI. And so I put into AI, I said, listen, I need you to tell me the laws. I need you to help me come up with goals and help me to advocate for my son. And it basically had me walking into our next meeting sounding like an attorney, an advocate, all in one. And I said, okay, I got something here. And so from that point forward, I took my husband's advice and I started using AI seriously. But it was a personal moment that actually had me to lean into AI.
Oh, I love that. I actually think that's so interesting, because that's how it was for me. I always joke with her. I was like, if you told me I was going to be doing a tech podcast, I would have laughed, because that's not my background. But I just fell in love with learning about technology and how to make my life better. But also, that's really what inspired this show, because we realized that there was a communication gap between the everyday person and the tech world, because people can be so fearful of technology, especially when you just don't have the background. And I love this episode and talking to you, because this is really what this is about, AI and misconceptions, and having people bust those myths so that they can actually start using the tech.
where the beautiful bridge of what your book does and what our platform does is really helping people understand how to apply it within their ecosystem, whether that is in the household, with family, with business. And yeah, I just love that T. Renee is really an OG AI chick.
She is.
You better say, I am an honorary AI chick, and y'all didn't even know it.
Actually, on that note, we have our nickname game. I think we just got to get into the nickname of giving T. Renee a nickname to induct you officially into the AI squad. We're giving you our human-generated ideas, and let's see where you land, where you like the favorites.
Yes. I mean, I think that honestly, it's funny, but like Miss CEO, that was just a vibe that we got like when I was like learning about you. And also on this call, I just feel like Miss CEO is like a fun, accurate representation of T. Renee.
One of the other things that we love is a play off of words. And so, you have your she leads with AI. So we were thinking about, what about leading lady?
Oh, I like that. I better be a leading lady in my husband's life. Okay. I like it.
Okay. And then Lana always jokes because I love to just give people royal names.
She just loves to knight people. Everyone's a king, a queen, a duchess, any kind of like royal title, she's out here giving them. Okay.
Well, on that note, I also obviously had to give you a royal name.
Of course.
And so I came up with AI Duchess.
I am clutching my pearls. AI Duchess.
But she also feels like an OG AI chick.
Yes.
I'm going to take OG AI chicks.
I'm just calling that's what we were already calling her.
I know we were calling you that behind the scenes.
Once we call you OG AI chick, that's it.
Yes. I love it. All right. So T. Renee is in the building. OG AI chick is here.
Yeah.
And should we get into one more unique segment of our podcast?
T. Renee, at the AI Chicks, we always do an episode with AI's Take where we ask AI about the subject that we're talking about. Yes. So for this episode, we went to Copilot and we asked AI about AI misconceptions. We're going to go and hear what Copilot has to say.
According to Copilot, many people believe AI thinks and feels like humans, but it does not have consciousness or emotions. Instead, it is a tool that processes data and patterns to perform specific tasks. Another misconception is that AI can learn entirely on its own, when in reality it requires human input, training, and oversight. Some assume AI will replace all jobs, but it is more likely to automate routine tasks while creating new opportunities. AI is also thought to be objective and error-free, yet it can inherit biases from its training data and make mistakes. In truth, today's AI is narrow and specialized, far from the superintelligent systems often imagined in science fiction.
T. Renee, you just heard what Copilot had to say. What are your thoughts?
Actually, I think Copilot was pretty accurate. So I agree with what it's saying. A lot of people think that AI is going to replace humans, but one thing is you really have to keep humans at the center of AI, because AI is just a tool, just like Copilot said, and you really have to train it. You have to train it and you have to give it information. So a lot of people think that they're going to be out here and be $1 million experts, basically using AI with no knowledge. No. You need to have the knowledge. You need to have the information to put in AI, and then AI just enhances it. It also talked about the misconceptions about it taking jobs. Now, I agree with it that it is not going to replace all jobs, but it will replace some, like those that are repetitive and you can automate tasks. So that is actually true. And another thing that it talked about was the biases. There are absolutely inherited biases in AI, and you have to think about it. The people that are programming and developing AI, they have biases. You and I have biases. Everybody does. And so that is just going to actually be within the tool or within the software. And so you definitely have to be very careful about the biases. And that's why it's important that you have to vet and review the information that you're given from AI, because it's pulling from all these different sources that are out there, and not all the sources are accurate. So I give Copilot an 8.9 out of 10.
Okay. She might be the first person that's ever given it a score.
Yeah. That's because I'm the OG of AI. What you think?
OG of AI.
Well, what I've labeled as coexisting with AI and humans and humanity, one of the things that we always tend to hear misconceptions about is everyone goes to like the worst extreme sci-fi nightmare of like, oh, like AI is going to take over, the robots are going to take over. And what the current existence and the current purpose of artificial intelligence is, it really is just a natural coexistence with humans and humanity.
And I think that's so important that you said the coexisting, because I think so much of the language that we hear out there now is replacing. And so we have to understand that AI works so well with the value that humans bring, the creativity, the problem solving, the emotional intelligence. One of the things that Copilot was saying is that as of now, AI does not have the emotional intelligence. It doesn't have the nuances. It doesn't understand all of those gray areas, maybe dealing with live experience or culture if you're dealing, with a business. And so it is so important that it is the coexistence and it's the human plus the AI. It is both of them together. And then that's when you really win. I think we hear maybe stories of a lot of companies that are doing layoffs and they're wanting to automate, several different things. But I think when you pull back the layers and you kind of really understand what's going on, AI helps us to be more efficient. It helps us to develop more robust systems and it helps us to improve, but it does not replace in total humans. So it has to be coexistent. So you nailed that.
Copilot, I think, made some really great points. I just started to think about the misconceptions that I have come across when I'm talking to people. And it's funny, I feel like there's two more like prominent camps, which is the ones that are like, oh, it gave me poor output. I tried it, I asked it a question and the answer was bad. And like, I don't think this is really going to work for me or do what I need it to do. So I'm just going to not use it. And I feel like when I hear that, I already know that it's a poor prompt. Did you give it the full story or did you ask it a forward question and then you're upset that it didn't give you a full response?
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people use that, especially people who are novices, as a way to just justify being afraid of the technology. And so that's always an interesting camp. And then there's the other camp that's like, we can call it maybe the over-reliance camp, where whatever AI says, they just take AI's word for it, but they don't check the source or really go deeper with AI to make sure that they're understanding. And part of that also leads into the echo chamber effect because, you're talking with AI, for example, about a conversation you had with your husband, but you know very well that you could also skew what AI says to you by not saying certain things, right?
If you and making me look good and him look bad.
Exactly. Like that's just something that people need to be mindful of. Are you telling AI, I need you to give me constructive criticism? Or are you saying, I offered my husband dinner and he said no. Okay, well, did you tell it that, he already ate like 10 minutes before? Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, and that's a very, small example, but what I'm saying
gets to the point.
It gets to the point. Like the context is key because if you say it like that, they'll be like, well, he just ate. Obviously he's going to say no versus why did your husband say no to you? And so context is so key. And I think that also comes back down to digital literacy. Because it's really about knowing the best ways of using the tools, but then actually doing it. So I think that a lot of the misconceptions come from people's lack of knowledge and lack of actual practicing using the tools.
I agree. And one thing that we say with the digital literacy is really working on your AI fluency. And a lot of people become lazy when it comes to AI because they want AI to do all the work. And they don't understand that AI is just a tool and it is an assistant to you as a partner, but you still need to do the work. You need to think through things. You need to have the strategy. You need to train it, give it the context, like the who, what, when, where, why, like you said. And then so the more value that you give to it, the more that you train it, then the more accurate that it's going to be. And another thing that I was talking to somebody about recently, a lot of times when people use AI, it'll be really nice to you, right? It's wanting to think of the best things, and you have to say to it, hey, listen here, I need you to pull this apart. I need you to give me the gaps. I need you to help me see the things I'm not thinking. And like you said, give me the real, honest, raw truth. And what am I missing?
I know for my prompts, like especially in a work environment, I'm always triple checking, making sure like, is this factual? Is this accurate? Is this industry standard? Things of that nature. I think not taking the first output as face value and vetting even your perception of what you think the output should be. there really is a layer of vetting to break through these misconceptions.
Well, T. Renee, like in your experience working on the consulting side of your business, what are the biggest misconceptions that you're seeing people struggle with when it comes to adopting AI?
Well, I think it's several. I think one of them is I'm too busy. I don't have time to learn it. I don't have the capacity. My plate is already full. And what I explain to them is this is not like any other tech revolution. Like this is way different and it's happening at the speed of, AI or the speed of light. So you cannot say, I'm just going to wait and I'm going to learn later because the technology is going to be so advanced and you're going to be far behind. So that's one of the biggest things is I don't have the time. And I explain to them, even if it's 10, 15, 20 minutes a day, you have to get in there and you have to try it. So you do not have the time to do it. That's number one. Number two, I've heard crazy things like, AI is not of Christ, right? You would be surprised how many times from a spiritual perspective, I've heard people say that. And I have to explain them. I say, well, do you have an iPhone? Well, yes, I do have an iPhone. Do you use Siri? Yes, I do that. Do you allow Netflix to pick out your programs? I do. Okay, so you're already using AI. So it's just a tool. I think another one, like you said, is I get so much that it does not work. And then when I find out, well, how often do you use it? Or what have you tried? Well, I tried it a couple times. I put the prompt in and, I didn't get the response. And so another thing that I hear too is I don't know what to do, where to start. And so what I tell people is you can use AI to train you on AI. You can put into AI and say, hey, I'm a novice. I really need to learn how to prompt. What are the key things that I need to do? Or ask me the question. So you can use AI to help train you. So those are some of the biggest ones.
So why do you think so many people are seeing AI as a threat? Like, what do you think is the underlying reason for driving these misconceptions and fears?
So I think about it, if you look at the headlines recently, what you're hearing is a lot of fear-based stories. You're hearing AI is going to take over your jobs. By 2030, jobs are going to be non-existent. You see all the layoffs that are happening, and it's making you think that it is just AI. Like I was listening to the story, I forgot which big company it was, and they were like, listen, our layoffs are not about AI. We actually overhired and we actually overstaffed and we're not making the revenue to support it. So this is not about AI, but that's not what you're hearing. The headlines are like companies are doing mass firings and they're being replaced by AI and robots. And so if you don't have the conversations about, hey, we're going to coexist with AI. Hey, we're going to up-level our skills so we can be able to use the technology. You don't need to fear it. You just need to learn it and let it be a strategic partner. That's not the headlines that you're hearing. So of course you're going to have fear, especially if you're like, wait a minute, I'm not technical. I don't know how to learn a new skill. I can't code. And so a lot of people think that AI is coding and technical and all these other things as well. So I think that there are valid reasons for fear. And that's why we have to have platforms like the AI Chicks to really put the information out there and say, no, don't fear it. Join in it and learn how to become productive and more profitable with it.
So you're definitely fearless when it comes to AI. But at what point did you have any misconceptions or fear of AI before you sort of became this expert?
What's so funny is I think I had the actual same misconceptions at first, because when I started hearing more about AI and I started using it just a little bit in the business, I was like, oh my gosh, this can actually do things that my team and I did for clients, like stuff that took us months. It can actually do in days or weeks. And so I got very nervous and I was like, oh my God, what does this say about the value that we offer to our clients? Are my skills going to be extinct? Are my skills teams going to be extinct? Am I just going to hire AI agents and replace everybody? So I think that I had those same fears. And so then I had to dive in and I actually used AI to help me. I said, listen, I need to know how to restructure my business model to incorporate AI. And it helped me to do that. But I think I had very similar fears that other people have, but I leaned into it. I was like, no, AI is not about to get me. I am going to figure this out. I will not be defeated. But I think most people are just like, oh no, this is just too much. I'm going to go hide, I'm going to run, or whatever the case is. So I had very similar fears.
We're talking about how you are implementing AI, right? There's the professional side where you are helping people in terms of how they can incorporate it in their business or really their professional careers, right? And then there's also like the family side. What are other ways that people can think about using AI, whether it be from a parenting perspective? And do you have any guidelines that you recommend people to think about when they're using AI for different aspects of their life?
I do. And that's the reason actually why I wrote She Leads with AI, because I said I want to give women a tool to use AI in every area of their life, because we're wearing this superwoman cape. And I'm like, no, we need to burn the superwoman cape and we need to use AI as a tool to help us to regain our time. So the one thing I say to women is look at in your life, if you could get 10 hours back per week, what would that give you? And now let's look at the tasks that you're doing to help to alleviate that time. So one of the things I know with a lot of women is meal planning or meal prep, right? We want to eat right. We want to eat healthy, but it's not even the cooking part. It is the what are we going to eat for dinner? I don't know, and don't ask me. Okay. And so one thing that AI can do is it can actually help you create a meal plan. You can put in there, this is how my husband eats, my son eats, I eat, and I need you to come up with a meal plan. I'm not going to spend more than 20, 30 minutes a day cooking. And so now give me menus for the week. Or if you come home from a hard day and you're like, what am I going to cook? Open up the refrigerator, take pictures of what you have in the refrigerator, upload it to AI and say, hey, I need you to come up with a meal. Give me the recipe and give me a picture of what the finished meal is. So that's just one thing. Another thing, like for parents with kids. So my son, he came home with some homework. I was like, okay, I've been out of school for a while. I know I may look a little bit younger, but I'm really not that young. And so I uploaded the homework to AI and I was like, listen, I need you to serve as a tutor to my son and walk him step by step how to do it. Another thing is organization, right? Have you looked at that kitchen counter and you're like, where did all this mail come from? I can't even see my counter. I took a picture of AI and I said, listen, I need you to give me an organizational structure of what to do, how to do it, and then send me the links of where to buy the organizational thing. So you can use it in so many different ways. It's you just understanding what can you use some help with.
So my biggest takeaway from Miss T. Renee, OG AI chick, is you don't just need to text and chat with AI. Start taking images and just say, help.
Help me.
I love that a lot of your examples and insight, was just really taking pictures, taking images, finding other ways to communicate with AI. Because I think that's another big aspect of what we were just talking about with the prompting. Some people don't know how to prompt, or they are not as communicative just naturally with their emotions, their task. This is just such amazing examples and tips that our listeners will be able to have like direct takeaway.
And also too, I think for the listeners, you gave a lot of great examples, but when you brought up the tutoring example with your son, I think that's so key for two reasons. One, okay, it's helping your child do their homework, but also it's allowing for a leveling of the playing field. If you think about, because whatever your parents' background education is, at some point, your parent looks at a homework question that they got and they don't remember the calculus or whatever the science question is. And I think the fact that you can go to a free AI tool and get help for your kid versus having to hire an expensive tutor, I think that really does level the playing field, giving your kid access to being able to learn at the same rate as someone that has access to private tutors.
Yeah.
And I have one more example that I want to say too. Most of the time it's women, and I'm just going to say it's high achieving women. We're the ones in our circle. Fortunately for the two of you all have each other, but we're the ones in the circle that pour into everybody. And so a thing that AI has helped me to be is actually just a venting tool, meaning I don't want to have to vent and emotionally dump on my family or my friends. So I'm able to dump into AI, not even typing, but just speaking into it and saying, hey, this is the kind of day that I'm having. I am not able to name my emotion right now. So I need for you to ask me some questions to help me think through and process what I am feeling. So then now I can know what my next step is. And it would actually ask me questions. Or I would say, get the emotions wheel. and then just ask me and help me to be able to choose my emotion. So you can use it for so many different things, especially just as women, when we may like, something's not right. I'm feeling it a little bit off, but I don't know what it is. It can actually help to give you language. So it does not have emotions, but you can prompt it to help you to be able to identify what your emotions are.
On that note, do you feel that women interact or respond differently to AI than men?
Yes, and it's so different and it's so funny. I actually had a radio interview before this, and it was with a male interview, and it was what is the relationship with AI? It was very logical, give me tangible examples. It was very technical. So I think men, just from our personal experience plus the research, they want to know the technical side of it. What is the practical side of it? So we're here talking about how can it lessen your hours? How can it give you, joy? How can it this? I think we have so different approaches to it. So if you look at it, I think they're focused more on the functionality. We're focused on the human side of it and how we're using the functionality. So I think just as we're more emotional and they're wired more logical, that is how it's showing up in AI. Absolutely.
I think it's interesting to continue to have those conversations, both like with each other and with technology, because we always talk about the data behind AI, right? It's based off of the information that they collect. We need more information of both how women are using AI, how men are using AI, and to really make sure that the system is as well-rounded as possible.
Yeah. And I think it's also just appreciating the feminine and masculine differences, right? And appreciating those differences, taking that data and embedding that more into AI. And we're always, sharing with different minority groups, underserved communities, as well as women, all different types of different sub-communities that you can be concerned about the bias and ethics and privacies around AI. But in order to help mitigate that, it needs more of those community data. That's how it improves. That's how it evolves.
And it needs more voices in the tech space and in the rooms where the tech is being built. And when you come from different perspectives, you're really able to make an impact that is more well-rounded for everybody.
Yes. So I think so too. And it's also incorporating the story behind the data, because sometimes the data, it is not 100% accurate, right? So you have to have what's the story, what is the nuances, what's the black and white, what's the psychology behind it. So everything that you're saying, all of these voices at the table and developing AI makes it more well-rounded.
We talked a little bit about like the family side of it. Can we talk a little bit on the professional side of it? What are kind of some of your favorite tools or ways that you like to use it on the professional side for people who are in careers or have businesses?
So it's interesting. And one thing I tell people is that all AI is not created equal. And each AI, it really has the different tools. And so for instance, like I use ChatGPT. I use that a lot for marketing, sales, brainstorming, creativity, images. Gemini, of course, love Nano Banana. Use that a lot for imaging, but also really research. Claude, it actually helped me write. She leads with AI. Y'all heard me say help. I didn't say write, okay? Help. It, deals really, really well with large information if you're looking at responding to RFPs and doing grant writing. Perplexity is amazing with doing research and strategy. So I think the very thing I tell people is before you go to the tools, you need to start with what's your strategy. Copilot, amazing when you're dealing with teams and organizational things. So I think for you as an individual, whether you're a leader or a CEO, understand what is your goal, what is your outcome, what is it that you want to achieve. And then when you understand that, then now you can go and decide which tool you want to use. Because honestly, there's a tool out there for everything. Creating a PowerPoint, Canva presentation, helping you write a dissertation, whatever the case is, it's a tool. But understand first what you want to accomplish in your outcome. So have strategy first.
I want to throw a little quick surprise question in there for us, for all of us to chat about, have a little kiki about, is more recently, because we've been in the AI space for years, but more recently, I would say maybe in the last 6 to 9 months, we've been having a lot of AI experts and AI entrepreneurs and AI engineers basically start to use the language around AI as less of a tool and more of a companion or a collaborator. I want to get your thoughts on this because we haven't fully adopted AI in our daily lives as a companion. And so I wanted to see what your temperature check is around that and where the AI community sees it moving forward.
Well, my temperature check is hot. It is hot. It is fire. It is. My take is I see, and as I talk about in the book, AI is a strategic partner. However, you have to develop it into being a strategic partner. So I think when you first start off, it is a tool because you're getting to learn it. You don't know the strategy behind it yet and how it can be a strategic partner. Now, I won't say companion because when I think of companion, I think of friend, I think of human, I think of, right? But I do agree with collaborator and I do agree with strategic partner. We're saying the same thing as companion. I just, think of a person as a companion. But I think that the more that you get to know AI, the more that you develop a strategy and learn how to prompt it and learn how to use it in your life and business is absolutely a strategic partner. It has cut down time, that we do things from a personal level or a professional level, but we've been able to train it to be a strategic partner. So I think that absolutely, but you have to get to that point.
I really like how you explain that as being more like as you are progressing in your experience and mastery of using the tech tools, that it becomes more of a strategic partner. And I do agree with you. I love the idea of the AI personal assistant, the AI collaborator being a strategic partner. I think that we're going to come to find that AI is just going to be more and more embedded. It's already been embedded. And to your point, I think when you were saying you use Netflix and it's recommending a show. And if you're talking to Siri, you've been using AI, but it's only going to get more and more integrated into our daily lives.
Yes.
So how can we use it to really maximize our output and really free up our time so that we can focus on the things that we want to focus on?
Yeah. And bring it back full circle to what I was saying earlier, coexisting with AI.
There you go. I love it. Put a bow on it, girl.
Put a bow on it. But one thing I want to say is AI helps you become more of who you are, right? So it does not replace it. So the more knowledge that you have, the more skills that you have, the more of a positive mindset that you have, it is going to leverage it, right? So I've read so many articles about how college students or high school students, they're using it to write essays or they're using it to do the homework. No, that's not what it is for, because you want to leverage the skills that you already have. It should not replace it. I think that's where the fear also, can set in when you are not developing your own skills, you are not growing, then of course, unfortunately, it is going to replace you. But if you are growing right alongside with it, coexisting, you're going to be the one there that's using it as a strategic partner or a collaborator. So do not get lazy, people. Okay.
I love OGAI chick.
I know. Auntie T. Renee is in the house.
Auntie Renee is dropping the tea. Okay. I hope you guys are enjoying all the tea she is giving, and check out her book, She Leads with AI.
Well, T. Renee, OG AI chick, thanks so much for joining us. I hope you had a good time.
I had such an amazing time, and I love you guys' energy. I love you guys' spirit, and thank you for allowing me to be a part because I was coming in anyway, but thank y'all for inviting me.
And it sounds like we have so much more to touch on with Miss T. Renee and our OG AI chick. So we'll definitely have you on for future episodes. But with everyone listening, hope you enjoyed. Make sure to follow us, subscribe. You can catch our podcast on any podcast platform that you choose. And what else, Lana?
Don't forget to grab the merch.
All right, y'all. Take care. Bye.
Listen to the AI Chicks on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Video episodes are available on Patreon. And check out our socials at The AI Chicks.